Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a break with Stephen Shamus.
Welcome back, Alex. How are you today, my friend?
Wonderful every day.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Another exciting show. I think we got some cool stuff today. We try to mix it up a little bit with some stuff that you're aware of and maybe some stuff you're not so aware of and some stuff that's like really, really hard to find. So what do we got on tap for today, Alex?
Yeah, we can't get past it, whether we are extremely excited or we'll just watch something else that weekend. But the Zack Snyder Justice League.
I've never seen a being this strong. Maybe one.
Man, it's blowing up. It's blowing up. So
those commercials are pretty cool.
It's getting bananas. It's a whole other movie. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the background. Let's talk a little Dragon's Lair. Because, even though property from the 80s, that's a video game, is not going anywhere. And then let's talk Gwenpool. Fun stuff.
That's me. You said my name. I get an episode.
Hey, how did you get in here?
You know what? I don't know. What I do know.
Yeah, we got some good stuff. Some of this stuff is really starting to accelerate. And then also, I think we've got your pick of the week in the middle in there as well. So, yeah. All right, cool. So what are we kicking off with, my friend?
Let's talk Justice League. Let's talk all the fun stuff.
Right. So we've all seen the commercials for Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's going to be a 4-part series on HBO Max, 4 hours long. I feel like when I first saw the original commercials for the original Justice League by Zack Snyder, I thought a lot of the elements that we're seeing now in the commercials, we were going to see in the original film. Obviously, Joss Whedon tweaked it, whatever he did, who knows? And then you have all this other controversy surrounding now. Like, I thought we were going to see the black suit Superman. I thought we were going to see the Steppenwolf and Darkseid. We had heard all the rumors, right?
Especially Darkseid.
Right. And he added some cool elements. I mean, we've seen now the Jared Leto Joker, which I actually thought he was good in Suicide Squad. I didn't see an issue with him, but I think that's pretty cool that they incorporated him. So I'm excited for all the fun surprises. I'm excited to see it. I think it's fun to make it 4 hours. What I've noticed with Netflix and HBO Max and Disney is you don't have the same time constraints as a theater. Because, you can get up, you can go to the bathroom, you can go make some food, you can come back, you can relax, you can watch it. And I like the idea of 4 parts, 4 weeks in a row. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that's cool. So Alex, what is your take on some of the commercials and what we've seen and some of the characters that are starting to pop out of there?
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that we thought or knew or we saw before. It's just going to be more. Right, like we're probably going to get more cyborg when we didn't get that much of him in the first movie, and I think there's a lot of stuff that everybody was kind of hoping to see, and you kind of got let down. I flag wave Cyborg because Cyborg has been a staple of the DC universe as a lead character in every Titans, Doom Patrol, like everywhere that there's a DC group of heroes, Justice League, whatever, Cyborg's there. And when you had this movie come out and he was very minimal role, almost everybody, Flash was a very minimal role. You're excited to see more of that, more of those characters fleshed out.
Right. So we're going to talk about very specific new pieces, not necessarily the stuff that we already know, whether it's Aquaman or Wonder Woman. We're not going to talk about that today. We're really going to talk about some of the new pieces that we've seen in some of these previews. Okay. So the big one is the black suit Superman, which everyone was expecting to see in the first film. Talk to us a little bit about what is the black suit Superman? Who is he?
Yeah. I mean, if you read comics in the 90s, or if you know anything about 90s Superman, the Death of Superman storyline, obviously 6 months after killing Superman, they brought him back. And there was this whole tale with the black suit, Silver S. He comes out of hibernation. Oh, Superman's back. He's got the long, crazy 90s hair. And it's just a fun kind of fan favorite, neat thing. And obviously with, the Justice League, it was a Death of Superman story. So to get this finally, continuing from out of the comics, it's just fun.
It kind of reminded me of the Iron Spider outfit, Spider-Man in the Avengers. And I rewatched Endgame recently. And, and he pulls out the Iron Spider suit again. And it's one of those cool, fun suits that everyone really loved at the time. And I think everyone really liked the fact that they brought it out there. And I think we were waiting for it.
Yeah.
So there are two key issues in the black suit Superman history. The first one is Action Comics number 689.
Yeah.
It's the first appearance of the black suit Superman. It's by Kerry Gamble and Jackson Guice. Very early Jackson Guice, by the way.
Yeah.
You're talking about 18 years ago. There are only 37 blue label 9.8s and only 4 gold label 9.8s. And that's only a $100 book today.
Yeah.
So again, I think now, again, it's not on the cover prominently. The next one is the big one.
Right.
But I do think that being the first suit is an important one. But wait till you hear the pop on the next one, Alex. I think you're going to be blown away. And this is the cover that you were talking about, the long flowing hair. This is the Jurgens breeding run.
Yeah.
If you were reading comics,
bread and butter.
That's right. If you were reading comics at this time, it was Jurgens and Breeding were your Superman. It was like McFarlane was your Spider-Man at the time, and Frank Miller was your Batman at the time. Jurgens and Breeding was your Superman at the time. No question about it. And Dan even jokes at shows. He's like, 25 years later, people still tell me, "Oh, you're the guy that killed Superman." It's so ingrained in people's memory, right? Yep. So anyway, that's Superman number 81, September of 1993. That's the great black suit cover. Yeah. That's the cover. It's a great cover. Yeah. There are 22 blue label 9.8, Alex, 11 gold label 9.8. That's a $200 book today. I don't see when that thing comes out. I mean, the pop is so low, and it's 1993 already. You're talking about 27, 28 years ago, Alex.
Yeah. I mean, these books are very, very highly printed. I think it's one of those books where everybody has so many copies of, like, if you're a collector, you can just go get it. It's not hard to find. You can get it. Every dealer has them. You can probably buy 100 for $100 on eBay, but people don't get them CGC'd or graded because it is a very common book. But as you'll see, and we've talked about it before, even though it's a common book in your hand raw, that doesn't mean there's a lot of 9.8s out there.
No, there isn't. I mean, we already see that's a low.
There's only 22 graded. Yeah.
Right. And what you're starting to see, and we've seen it in the other collectibles fields like sports cards, is the pop is now driving the pricing. We've seen so many books, Alex, where raw it's $5, and then or a VF8, like we saw with the White Rabbit, the 9.8s are $1,200. Yeah. And the 8.0s are $50.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's a back cover, there's a very low pop, and that's it. And the pop is driving the pricing on these things.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next character that we see a lot more of is Steppenwolf. Talk a little bit about the Steppenwolf character, what we saw in the first movie, what we hope to see in the second movie.
Yeah. I mean, with Steppenwolf and, kind of all like the new guards, Darkseid, Mr. Miracle, Orion, this is Jack Kirby's, they were like, here, hey, Jack Kirby, welcome to DC. Here's the keys. Do whatever you want. So they started this New Gods run. And since then, I mean, it's odd if you see it, but, if you think about like big time DC properties, they use a lot of Jack Kirby's creations. The Justice League movie is using Darkseid, Steppenwolf, and the New Gods. The Super Friends cartoon was using the same characters. The Superpowers toys, same characters. So, these books are not hard to find, but they're not easy to find because Jack Kirby collectors picked them up really quickly.
It's interesting because we've touched on Jack Kirby and his historical significance before, but I don't know that a lot of people are familiar that he did a lot of stuff at DC, right? Yeah. People know him for his Marvel stuff, right? But like you said, he has a big imprint in the DC universe.
Huge.
I don't know that anyone else has made as large an impact at both companies. I mean, Jim Lee.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, maybe. But even so, like, their art styles might have changed the books, but creating. I mean, Jack Kirby was not at DC for very long, at all. And the time he was there, I mean, they're using all of his creations constantly.
Right. And I think the new Steppenwolf that we've seen looks a lot better than what we saw originally. Yeah. And it's voiced by Kieran Hines, who of course was at our event back in 2017. Kieran's a great actor, Harry Potter, Munich, a whole bunch of stuff in his career. Okay, so New Gods number 7 is the first Steppenwolf, February, March of 1972. We're going to talk about some of the lower grades because it's a very, very old book, very hard to find in top grade. There's 8 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label, 21 blue label 9.6s, 0 in gold label. There are 42 Blue Label 9.4s, 0 gold label, and 40 Blue Label 9.2s. So with a 0 gold label. So we're going to talk about 9.6, where there are 21, and that's about a $700 book, which sounds very low.
Yeah.
For a Steppenwolf comic book first appearance, considering the role that he's going to have. So again, we're starting to see that the DC stuff, if you compare the Marvel characters that are in these films and the DC characters that are in these films, the villains and whatnot, you know, for instance, Gore the God Killer is a $600 book from 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even comparison, Alex.
Right.
The only other book I wanted to talk about, which had this great Steppenwolf image, is Earth 2 #8 from March of 2013. There's just not a lot of great Steppenwolf covers. Right. That's the issue. So there is one blue label 9.8, 0 gold label 9.8s. There's no pop available. But if you're looking for a cool Steppenwolf cover, if Kieran Hines ever does another signing, that would be a cool book to have him sign. Great. So the last character that I want to talk about, which obviously makes a big impression in this film, is Darkseid. Right. Not in the original film, was all over the original Superman storylines. Yeah. And you see Steppenwolf kneeling, so you have a god kneeling to a bigger god. Yeah. So what's the story? What's the relationship between Steppenwolf and Darkseid? And what can we expect to see from Darkseid in the film? Yeah, I mean, if you have a big baddie for Superman other than Doomsday, if you take that out of the equation, which, you know, you could say he's not that big of a baddie, but Darkseid is probably the biggest baddie and probably one of the DC universe's biggest bad guys. You know, he's always looking for the anti-life equation, which, you know, makes him the most powerful being. You know, they're always Apocalypse is his planet. They're at war with New Genesis. You know, they have this great Jack Kirby did so many great things, but like the neat thing with the New Gods was to do a truce. Darkseid and Allfather switched sons. So Darkseid brought up a kid, Allfather brought up a kid, and they were, you know, the opposites sons. It's very neat. You know, as Steppenwolf goes, he's just a foot soldier for Darkseid. So if they're having problems with Steppenwolf and who was the main villain of Justice League, I mean, Darkseid's way more powerful. Right. Okay, good. So the Darkseid stuff that we're going to talk about now, Forever People #1. February, March of 1971. Of course, we're going to talk about some lower grades as well. There are 56 Blue Label 9.8, surprisingly enough. We're not going to talk about gold labels here from a 1971 book. There's actually 56 Blue Label 9.8. It's hard to believe. 119 9.6 Blue Labels, 202 9.4 Blue Labels. In 9.8, it sells for about $4,200, which is a little expensive, but only $1,100 for 9.6 and only $500 for 9.4. So that's not a bad, again, that's not expensive for these books for a first appearance of Darkseid. And this is the first full appearance. He had a cameo in a Jimmy Olsen book, but this is the big one. And this Forever People #1 has lots of first appearances in it. Right. So there's 3 other Darkseid books. There's a bunch of other Darkseid books that I want to go through one by one with really, really awesome Darkseid covers. Right. These might be good books to get signature series. These are good books to get raw. These are good books to get 9.8. Some of them have really, really popped when you start to take a look at these things. And I think that you'll find that these are really, really cool books. The first one is Legion of Superheroes #294 from December of 1982. Awesome Keith Giffen cover. Yep. 39 Blue Label 9.8s, 1 Gold Label 9.8. That's about $150. The next one is a John Byrne cover. What's cool about this run, Alex, is Superman #3, March of 1987, 23 Blue Label 9.8s, 1 Gold Label 9.8. It's only a $75 book. It's in a great John Byrne cover. Yeah, Superman #4, the following issue, is the first appearance of Bloodsport, which is the character that Idris Elba is portraying in Suicide Squad 2. So it's interesting, like John Byrne now has this really key run from 1987. They're using all that Man characters. Of Steel column, the Man of Steel iconic cover, right? So all of a sudden now that whole series has got a little magic going there, right? Right. And then Justice League America 184 from November of 1980. There are 23 Blue Label 9.8s, 1 Gold Label 9.8. That's a $280 book. It's got a great Dick Giordano cover. It's got the Justice Society of America, the New Gods, Darkseid, Mr. Miracle, everybody you just spoke about. Yeah. So that book is loaded. Great cover. And then the next one is very, very important, I think, historically, especially because of the toy line involved. And I'll have you talk about that in a second. Superpowers #1, September of 1985, 23 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. It's a Jack Kirby cover. It's only $150. That's a classic Darkseid cover.
Yeah.
Now, back then, you really had the Secret Wars figure, which we'll talk about another day because we think that there's some Marvel future there. And you had the Superpowers collection. Those toys were awesome. I had the Superman, I had the Batman, and the Robin. Talk a little bit about the Superpowers toy line, Alex. That was huge back in the day.
You nailed it on the head. It was probably the biggest introduction for kids of the, that era, the early 80s, late 70s introduction to DC characters, not just Batman and Superman. Everybody knew who Batman and Superman was. There was TV shows, there was comic books, but the rest of the toy line. And that toy line was amazing. There was a Dr. Fate. There's Darkseid. I mean, Steppenwolf, Wonder Woman, Flash. I mean, they had everybody, Batman and Robin, and those Superpowers toys are hard to come by in cards, very collectible. And with the Super Friends cartoon, I mean, that was a lot of people's introduction to the DC universe, not just Batman, Superman, all the other characters.
I remember the hottest one at the time was the Mail Away Clark Kent.
Yep.
Everybody wanted the Mail Away Clark Kent. That was a cool figure. It was so clever at the time.
Yeah. I had the Darkseid figure growing up, but I didn't know who it was until probably well into my 7th or 8th grade years. I didn't know who it was, played with it, broke it, destroyed it, threw it away. And then later I was like, oh my God, that was a really good Darkseid figure.
I'll tell you, and they did some interesting, they did Red Tornado. They had some cool figures
Hawkman,
that they did.
Right? Green Lantern.
They did some cool figures back then for that series.
They're still neat looking. I don't think I still think they hold up.
They certainly hold up well. Yeah. The next one is my favorite Darkseid cover of all. It's the J.G. Jones Final Crisis #4 cover from November of 2008. There's only 10 Blue Label 9.8s, 2 Gold Label 9.8s. That's about a $60 book. That's the one where he's got the hands towards the center with the
You don't own that art? I'm surprised you don't own that art.
I almost bought that one. I had a chance to. You know what I didn't like? The only thing I didn't like, but it's actually become a cool thing, is that they cut him. I didn't like the way they cropped them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it wasn't a full cover; it was cropped.
But what a great powerful image that was.
Yeah.
Then you have Adventure Comics #12, the Liber Mayo variant cover, which is an awesome cover. That's from August of 2010. 27 Blue Label 9.8s, 1 Gold Label 9.8. That's about a $525 book.
Right.
So that one's a very, very popular one. The next one is DCU Legacies #8. It's the Frank Quietly variant cover. February of 2011, only 2 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. That book is about $110 raw, Alex.
Yeah.
And that's a $300 in 9.6. So that Frank Quietly cover is very, very popular.
Yep.
Then the next one is an Ivan Reyes cover, variant cover to Justice League #6, April of 2012, 32 Blue Label 9.8s, 11 Gold Label 9.8s, and that's about a $175 book. And the last one to take a look at was from 2015, August, Justice League #41, 48 Blue Label 9.8s, 4 Gold Label 9.8s. It's about a $175 book. That's a Jason Fabok cover of the Darkseid War.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of covered all the cool Darkseid covers. If anybody out there thinks we missed any, I kind of did as much. We did as much homework as we could, Alex, you and I.
Right.
And I think these were the really, really cool ones that we came up with.
Yeah, those are neat ones.
All right, cool. Alex, what do we got next?
Yeah, let's talk Dragon's Lair.
Okay, so Dragon's Lair was pretty freaking awesome when we were kids.
100%. Yeah, one of my favorite games.
Right, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was like choose your own adventure. It was it was very cleverly done for the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first intermix arcade game with video. It had a laser disc in it. It's bananas that this thing got through and stayed the test of time. I had it for Nintendo, the port, which wasn't the same, but it is an extremely hard game as well.
Yes. Okay. So, and there's supposed to be a Ryan Reynolds film, right?
Which makes perfect sense.
Which makes perfect sense, right?
Yep.
It's definitely up his alley. And that was a cross-gen title. I did not realize that it was a cross-gen title at the time. Of all the titles that they had, and they had some great titles with great creators, Steve McNiven, George Perez, everybody was working there.
Yeah.
It's amazing that none of the original content has come out of there. But certainly Dragon's Lair was one of the titles they produced back in 2003. These books are impossible
I had one. It's gone.
Impossible.
I don't know where it is. Yeah.
Impossible. So Dragon's Lair #1, August of 2003, 17 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s, $400, Alex. You can't even find them raw, by the way. Impossible. Yeah. Okay. The next ones are impossible, and I don't know that Graham Cracker stores are open. I don't know if he's got copies anymore. They're impossible to find.
No way.
Dragon's Lair #1, Graham Cracker's Fabio Laguna variant cover. 1 blue label 9.8, 0 gold label 9.8, $600 raw.
Crazy.
Raw.
It's like the He-Man. This is nuts.
Can't find them.
Yeah.
Can't find them. Good luck. You know, I was able to track down some ball and chains, but they're impossible to find these books, guys. Dragon's Lair #2, October of 2003, 3 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s, $40 raw. Again, if you can find #1, you might as well finish your set.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then #3 came out also in October of 2003. It was probably a 5-week month. 1 blue label 9.8, 0 gold label 9.8s. That's also about a $40 raw book. So I think those books are good to pick up if you can find them.
Totally.
Even if you have to get them raw. I think that's a good buy. I mean, when the movie comes out, I mean, it's just going to explode.
Those may be a dollar bin box books too, because I mean, you know, I remember when they came out. I actually worked at a small store in Virginia when they came out, and like they sold well, but then, you know, there's leftovers and you throw them in a box and you forget about them. And, you know, unless you're a huge Dragon's Lair fan, but even if you are a huge Dragon's Lair fan, you bought them already. So I have a feeling these are in dollar boxes somewhere and people just don't realize it.
Yeah. Or they're just tucked away somewhere.
Yeah. All
right, Alex, that time of the show again. It's Alex's pick of the week. What do you got for us?
So you had texted me earlier in the week and I was trying to find something else and I couldn't deny what the people want. And this is what the people want. And it's finally come around full circle. And how many people are going to hate themselves? X-Force #1 selling for like $20-$30 if it has the Deadpool card. It's almost too much for me. My brain is exploding.
Here's the funny part is, if you got it graded,
right,
they threw out the bag and the card.
They're selling because of the card.
Yeah. It's worth more bag than graded.
Nobody
Alex.
wants the comic. They want the Deadpool card because you put it on eBay and you grade it a 9.8 or a 10 out of a PSA, and you call it his rookie card, and all of a sudden they're $500 cards. Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. So yes, it's finally come full circle. The Deadpool card is on fire. So if you have the Deadpool card, that's the one that everybody wants. But also the card has to be in good condition. Yeah.
If you have the bag books, a lot of times they were banged around and chucked around and tossed around, and the cards got creased or crimped or cracked. That's worthless. It's like the Spider-Man 2099 that's with the action figure.
Yeah.
Nobody wants them creased or crimped. So yes, they made 5 million copies. I think they put 2 cards per book. That means they printed somewhere about 1 million or 2 million Deadpool cards, but they're gone. And remember, if you got it graded or signed, the books are gone.
Yep.
The cards are gone.
It's just the card. And the best part is I was still buying cases of these 9 years ago. Cases, sealed cases of these. I was still buying them. I was giving $5 a case. Nobody wants them, but now they're worth money.
Do you boys at Midtown have them?
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be some somewhere.
Got to call them up. Call them up.
They're not. They know what they're doing. I'm sure they're pulling those and putting them out. Yeah.
All right. What's our final topic for tonight, Alex?
Yeah, let's talk about Gwenpool, a new character.
All right, Gwenpool. Very, very popular.
Yes.
They were kind of smart. They put the first appearance in Howard the Duck #1. So there's a pretty decent print size.
Yeah.
But there are some rarities within the print size, which we'll talk about. It's really the Ron Lim cover. So I'm going to breeze through the regular covers because she's in the book, but not on the cover.
Right.
The ones that people want are the ones where she's on the cover, which makes perfect sense. It's like Hulk 180 versus Hulk 181. So we're going to breeze through, though. Yes, they're still valuable because it's her first appearance.
Yeah.
But the ones that people want is with her on the cover. Talk me through the character. Why is it popular, and why Howard the Duck is her first appearance?
I'll do it backwards. Howard the Duck is her first appearance because it was a backup. It was just a fun backup and cover appearance. During the Secret Wars era, and after Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider became extremely popular, they were doing covers that were like, oh, let's just make Gwen into other characters. There was a Gwen Doctor Strange. There, Gwen Deadpool, because everybody loves Deadpool. That's a home run. And it was so fun, and the fans loved it so much that they ended up making her into the universe and making a series out of her. And she's fun. Her powers are kind of neat. Her backstory isn't like crazy, but she came from another universe, came to the Marvel 616 after Secret Wars, and they melded all the universes. She can break the fourth wall, and that's her power. So she can look 5 pages ahead and say, oh, MODOK is going to try to beam shot at me, and then she'll be like, okay, well, when I get close to that, I'll just duck at that point. She can do this weird fourth wall breaking thing. It's neat. It's a neat thing.
You had that power for a little while too, didn't you?
I do definitely break the fourth wall. Yep.
All right, so let's breeze through the non-Gwenpool covers, and then I'm going to come back to the Gwenpool covers. Howard the Duck #1, January of 2016, the Joe Quinones regular cover, 424 Blue Label 9.8s, 31 Gold Label 9.8s, $150.
Yep.
The Wando Hip Hop variant cover, 0 pop. It's about a $25 to $30 raw. The Bob McLeod 1 in 25 variant cover, 14 Blue Label 9.8, 2 Gold Label 9.8, $50 to $60 raw. The Joe Quinones 1 in 25 variant cover. It's different than the other Joe Quinones cover. There's a lot of hats on the cover. That's how you can tell that it's that one. There's 8 Blue Label 9.8s. There's 1 Gold Label 9.8. That's about a $15 raw book. The David Aja 1 in, did I pronounce that right?
Aha. You can say, I think you can say both.
David Aha. 1 in 50 variant cover, 17 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. That's a $75 raw book. Now let's talk about the 2 big ones.
Right.
Okay. The Ron Lim 1 in 25 variant cover has Gwenpool on the cover, Alex.
Yep, that's the one.
So there's 139 Blue Label 9.8s. There's 21 Gold Label 9.8s. That's an $800 book today.
Ooh.
And it's clearly the best one of the bunch. Clearly the best one of the bunch.
Yep.
Try to buy it raw. I think you try to hit the 9.8.
Yeah.
And then the sketch variant cover, which is also listed as a second print. It was solicited as a second print. CGC has it as a first print, but it was solicited as a second print, which is fine. It doesn't matter.
It might have been an incentive for the second print.
Maybe. I think it was an open order.
It was open.
According to Diamond.
Right.
But it's the Gwenpool cover as a sketch variant. For some reason, it's not as nice as the other one, even though it's much lower print supply. Although at the first print being a 1 in 25, maybe it was around the same print supply.
Yeah.
There's 220 Blue Label 9.8s. There's 16 Gold Label 9.8s, and that's about $125 book. So the 2 that you really want to look out for are the Ron Lim regular 1 in 25 variant and the Ron Lim sketch 20 variant. Second.
Classic artist, home run.
Yeah, he Thanos, everything else, all that other stuff through the years. All right, Alex, I think that's our show for today.
We did it.
It was a lot of fun having you guys here. We appreciate you being with us, and we will see you guys next week. Same bat time.
Same bat channel.
Thanks,
bye, guys.
everybody.